I think I may have mentioned this before, but there's an awful lot of, if you go around looking at rocks to pick up and work, over in Central Texas, there's a lot of stuff that somebody else already tried to work a long time ago. And I have a tendency to pick up stuff like that, but then sometimes I just sort of never end up working it. One of the things that you can do, however, is when you do pick up the rock, examine it and look like if the person that hit it was just trying to get flakes off it to use for other tools. Because if they were, then that core that remains may be pretty good. But if on the other hand they started working it and it doesn't, it looks like they were trying to biface it and just stopped, like this one kind of looks, odds are it's not a great rock. Now, it might be a great rock if you heat treated it, but it probably isn't a great rock like it is. And then you can get into the discussion with people, if you feel like it, I don't, regarding the relative the reasons not to work it versus work it. I guess it depends on how rock poor you are in a way to sometimes. Dang, what is this? Oh my gosh, look at this. See them little white spots? They're gonna get a lot worse toward the middle. That looks like concrete. And that also looks like and this one too. This is an incipient one of these. And probably from cold or heat, one or the other, moisture in there, and who knows. I think I might hit this a couple of times though. Why not? I'm just holding it up at the other end. That end part had a damage hit on there, sort of, that's kind of just blue. I'm losing a little bit of length there, but this thing is curved and bent anyway, so I guess you could make some sort of a mysterious ceremonial thing. This has got a seam right in there. I'm going to come over here, try and undercut whatever that was going to do. Holding that down on my leg a little bit, there was a hump there that I did not want to remain there. And again, I'm holding on the back end. So the back end holding it dampens all that end snappy kind of stuff. And then the front end being on my leg dampens the other end. So now we're going to try and do one right along in here. So I've got it kind of held upward with that little hump part on my leg. And see, it ran down. And I made sure to flip that enough to where it didn't catch my hand. Because right at the moment, I'm not sure that I want to be visiting medical facilities. I backhanded that. And I'm not trying to get too crazy with the thinning aspect of things. I'm more, it's like shooting pool, I'm more interested in the leave. I want to try and go around this thing and turn things in such a manner that I can you know, semi-zigzagging. It's always hard for me to hold these kind of things. It's a lot of weight on my wrist. Trying to hit that almost straight in and get a flattish flake, because I figure, you know, that's thinning, and even if it rolls out like that, I'll come back from the side or something later. I don't know if this is interesting to y'all or not, but at least it's a video, right? That may be punting, but one of the reasons I haven't made a video lately is I haven't had any huge insights to convey that I didn't already mention at some previous point. Had to go quick on that one because things were a little dicey with how it was set, with the situation. Sometimes quickness, it's like running on top of water. Sometimes you run fast enough, maybe you won't sink. I got my big piece of bison hide under there to sort of protect my leg. I wonder if I could knock this other end off without making this thing fall in half. Probably not. The best thing might be to do, just keep going around it like I am. At some point I may have to get brave on the other end. You hear that one run faster? You can definitely hear a difference in the pitch of the flake from the two different, from the two different boppers, depending upon how I'm swinging them. This is silly. I think sometimes some of these sorts of rocks like this, if you're gonna work it at all, get somebody to saw it, or saw it yourself if you have a saw it and heat it. And make a bunch of little stuff from it instead of one big thing. But I just like hitting this stuff. It's fun. Well, you pretty much got to be an optimist to fight this one to the end. I could probably keep this thing together. Now, whether or not it'll be any way more interesting. See that one, there was a hump right there, and I tried to dry that far enough to kind of lower that a little bit. Whether I could make anything that anybody would want in their house or not, I don't know. Alright. Trying to go kind of good with that one. You don't really want to stay too close. Here's the thing. You know, you hate losing width. And that's great, but you got to lose thickness. The problem is, in order to get this away from the center line, I got to lose a little width. But if I try and work everything right from the center line, I'm not going to be getting as much thinning with the hit. So you sort of just got to say, how good am I at redirecting stuff by support versus trying to do it the right way and get stuff away from the center line. Let's see. Okay, so that was you know, a ridge over here that was a little bit of a guiding factor, but it still spread out really wide, but I had the pressure down on the pad, and so it sunk it and took a thicker flake in the middle, and it actually did lower and smooth that out some. And I hit that one first because I thought I could do more with that would then somewhat isolate this and help on that one. Now hold that one down on my leg and did the same thing. It's thicker in the middle and it ran all the way over to here, but there's a crystal pocket. And you're getting more of the spots I was talking about show up. So the center of this thing is not good flint, and they usually aren't on these big gnarly dry ones. Usually not. So anyway, the concept. I think I could do something with that. Some of these kind of things, you get this layering look that's pretty cool near the outer surface. But again, a lot of times the middle of it isn't all that great. You get little gnarlies in there. That was hit a long time ago too. You can see where bam, 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 setting stuff up. Some of these, I guess I hit them enough and tested them, got into them to say, okay, I know what grade or quality or what to expect from this rock. Sometimes on the tabular stuff, I don't take that much off of it because I don't feel like I need to, just for the purposes of putting it in storage until it wants to be hit. This is another rock that could benefit from some heat though. Hit it in there on purpose, you know, go in straight because I can get rid of that hinge. And on the ends, you know, you want them thinner before you work everywhere else. See, that hinge is gone. And that was at an oblique angle. So, I haven't been very entertaining today. I could sit around and wait till I felt funny, but that's not good stuff in there, in the middle. We are fixing to wish we were on a different rock, I believe. That's a big seam. Dag nabbit. We used to say that a lot when I was a kid. I don't know why it faded out. Dag nabbit was a pretty good word. I would think. Sounds like a good word. Oh yeah, gonna make a purty point. Super attractive. I don't like this knob. The reason I did that was to get an angle. But we're still low on these platforms, so I still can't do much because this is concavity anyway, but I can get rid of the square edge and kind of bring stuff up and sort of start turning that concavity into a non-concavity. Once you see something like this in your rock, you really should start trying to preferentially salvage one side of it and not work down to the middle anymore. But I've got that seamy looking thing there, and I've got a couple of angles on there, and it actually looks like there's a crack right in the middle of this thing right here. And that lines up about with that seam, so I think that crack goes square through, and I think that's going to break right down the middle. I don't know if you can see that, but right in there. So I'm not going to sit here and stand for that situation. This is some tough stuff. This needs heat. This is yellow. I know where this came from. I know exactly where this rock came from. All the rock there needs heat, but I don't like heating rock. Rocks like ridges, flakes like ridges. Concrete. Stuff's kind of dry. It always wants to be a little steppier and it's limey, a little bit limey. Can't advocate for liminess as a beneficial aspect of knappability. However, sometimes liminess is attractive in a way. So I like some of the lighter cherts that have a little more ocean critters in them. That gum, that concrete is just concrete combined with, see, it's going in there and it had no tensile strength, so it just, bam, breaking off. Now, there are a lot of people out there that would not hit these kind of things in these kind of manners because they would know that it ain't gonna work right and it would be embarrassing. Me, like I told you, I don't care. Because when I get up in the morning, some mornings I get up and say, "Breeze crack? Do you still feel like people think that you're a good napper? 3 or 4 people?" And the answer is, actually, I don't. Not I don't think people think I'm still a good napper. I don't think I get up in the morning and think that. I think I am an eccentric napper. Issues. Squeeze. Well, that's interesting. That almost looks like there was an old hit on this and there's kind of a little bulbiness in there the way that did. But I don't know if there was. But I wouldn't be surprised because in that area there's a lot. Put pressure on that, trying to do a little bit of good, and it worked to a slight extent. I'm running out of a good situation though because I haven't set all this stuff up well. I've got big humpinesses. That kind of worked okay, but we're getting back into Concrete City. Now when I was playing that thing like a violin, straight down, just trying to cut that off to come back this way. Just barely caught it, but got my angle right there on that hump. Got that angle right there. So I'm putting my fingers all along there. Hit it hard, hold it together so when it blows up in the middle it still runs. And cut a bunch of that off and it ran over there. So. There's madness to my method. Oh my gosh, time is flying. I'll do a different rock. Right back.